I think we're beyond convincing people for sustainable transition. It's really much more about courage. It's about action. It's about insistence on doing something differently. It's great, especially also here in Denmark, where I work, how people are acknowledging that the transition to sustainability and circular economy is important, but actually staying in it and committing to it, I think that's where we need to go. I didn't train and educate myself as a designer, but I'm working with design and practicing design for over 10 years. I actually studied arts, culture, and communication. I've been working very much in the art sphere. What's always interested in me is not so much art in itself, but how it might affect society, how it might affect business or policy, and how we can interact across these different sectors. My passion is about being able to change things, making a difference. So design has that power. It also has the power to just make pretty things and comfortable things. But I think when we can use design to make people change their behavior, then that's what really drives me. I've been working in the design industry for some time now, and I think the industry has really lacked a bigger purpose. So design in itself, for me, I'm sorry, is not interesting. It's about how we might make a difference with design. So to me, design is not just about product design, about designing a product a little bit differently, using new materials. It's actually potentially world-changing. It's a new mindset. So how might we address how we design products, how we consume products, how we live a sustainable life? It's really about, for me, zooming out and addressing a completely new direction for society. So we know that 80% of a product's environmental footprint is determined in the design phase. It's in the design phase we take these really crucial decisions about how products are created, but also how they affect the user, and also how they travel throughout their life cycle. We need to take that first design phase very seriously, and not only just the design industry, but also businesses at large. When we decided to lean into the sustainable transition, we spent a lot of time figuring out how we really could make a difference. And that's when we settled on circular economy. And I think circular economy is so interesting because it's not just about inventing new products, it's about creating a shift from one paradigm, basically a linear paradigm, to a circular paradigm. And that's just not about only business models or products. It's also about new behavior. It's about new policy, and it's that big. And that's what's really fascinating for me, the complexity of that, navigating that complexity and bringing design into that space. I think we're beyond convincing people for sustainable transition. It's really much more about courage. It's about action. It's about insistence on doing something differently. It's great, especially also here in Denmark, where I work, how people are acknowledging that the transition to sustainability and circular economy is important, but actually staying in it and committing to it. I think that's where we need to go. We need to stop talking about it. We need to change our actions. Yeah. When we're helping that individual company move towards the circular strategy or circular business models, we have to help them move out into their supply chain. And that means moving out of Denmark, looking at how products are designed, how they're distributed, how they're sold. So we're really trying to help them de-risk that whole process of reaching out to partners, creating new collaborations, and in creating a safe environment for that to actually find those new business models that are viable for the individual company. And that's why we initiated this really ambitious project. It's called Decoupling 2030. And I think it's the first of its kind here in Denmark. It's an 8-year-long project. It involves over 600 companies, and it really pushes for their sustainable transition. And what's very radically different is the whole setup, the whole funding. We've sort of agreed on the goal. We've agreed that the companies involved are to work with sustainability across their organization in all three scopes, and really work to decouple their environmental impact from economic growth. So with this Decoupling 2030 initiative, I actually got, hardcore engineers to admit that we're experimenting. We don't know where we're heading. I got them to collaborate together with designers, together with anthropologists about being explorative about where to go. And that's completely different from so many other ways of working. That would be amazing. We had to be really clear about that whole tension between being dead serious and playing. And if we're just playing, it won't work. And we're just dead serious, we won't get anywhere. So we need to really understand what's the problem, what's at stake here. For many individuals, there's a lot at stake, and we have to take that really seriously. Design is a lot about empathy. It's about understanding whatever problems and issues that individual or that group has. So we have to be very empathetic with their context. And I've experienced that storytelling is such a crucial element of our work and our circular mission. And I think storytelling is actually really lacking in the debate today when we talk about circularity. I think for many people, circular economy is this vague concept. And if you look at the different models and illustrations, there's a lot of resource flows and it can be very technocratic. That is a very important part of circular economy. It is, and it shouldn't be forgotten. But the whole element of engaging that individual and the person in this being a completely new journey we're heading on, science has told us what to stop doing. Our imagination must tell us where to go. So we use design as this way to ignite our imagination. It can be really overwhelming. It can be very hard navigating and changing, creating sustainable change. And I see a lot of people that are let down by how the world is moving. And of course, I must admit, it also hits me sometimes really hard in the stomach. But I just have to zoom in on what I might do. And I really hope everyone does that. So how might I contribute? What's within my power? What's in the power of the Danish Design Center? My really great colleagues? What might we do? Let's not do what we can't do. Let's try to focus on how we can create something that might create new behavior, new change. Circular economy can become abstract, it can become theoretical, it can become complex. And it's quite important to step away from that once in a while to just get some motivation, energy, inspiration elsewhere. And those spaces can, for instance, be when I go running by the beach where I live, which is great. I like to walk, preferably in nature, in the woods. It's amazing to just get grounded. But also to go experience art, experience culture, and to get stimulated and also to get provoked by just how I think and feel, to get in another mode. For me, success is not about having that, happy partner or a happy business leader. It's about having seen that things are changing, that people are getting new insights and act differently. And it's about acknowledging that we've been working for green transition and a circular transition for many years, but it's not really happening. So things have to be radically different. And it's a systemic discussion. So when I see policymakers perceiving circular economy differently, that's a success. When I see business leaders collaborating with someone they're not used to, that's a success. So for me, it's those small steps, seeing that the system that as we're used to, the linear system as we're used to, is slowly changing. That's what I keep my eyes out on. That's why I keep in a good mood when things are a little bit rough.